everybody, Mr. McQuillan here, and today I want to just briefly go over how to structure your argumentative research paper. So basically, I'm going to be walking through a PowerPoint presentation that I posted up for you guys at least a month ago that goes over the ins and outs of how to structure, how to put together common aspects that go into creating an argumentative research paper. So I've got pulled up here the actual PowerPoint presentation from the OWL at Purdue that I posted into Blackboard for you guys some time ago, so you can look that over to help you with your paper. And I'm just going to go through not all these slides, just highlight a few of them that are worth mentioning as you finish up or start or revise, proof your final essay for this class. So let's tab along here. So basically, looking at the structure, you're going to start with a title or a title page for your essay. That does not count towards the 6 pages of your actual essay. The title page and the works cited page or the reference page, resource page, whatever you want to call the final page that has all the citations of where you've got your research information from, your cited, quoted material from that you've used sparingly in your essay. That's where that will appear. So the very first page of your essay and the very final page of your essay does not actually count towards the page count. So the total minimum pages that you would submit to me would be 8 pages. That's the bare minimum to actually meet the requirements, one of the requirements for this assignment. But you can see by this slide right here, you start with the title, then you get to your next page that has your introduction with the thesis statement. Then the remaining of the essay is body paragraphs. That's the bulk of your essay, and then your final paragraph will be your conclusion. I should be saying paragraphs, not essays, in terms of what makes up your essay. I misspoke there. So the importance of the title. Title is something you do want to pay some attention to as you are putting your essay together. You can save it to the end. If you haven't done that yet, that's okay. Some people like to do that first. It helps them kind of set up kind of in their head where this essay needs to go for them. But, there's no right or wrong way to do this. But why do you need a title? Other than I told you have to have a title for this page. Introduces a topic of discussion to the audience and generates reader interest in the argument. These things are very true and very important. When we talk about titles for essays, we're not just talking about if you're writing about pollution and how plastic can contribute to pollution. You don't want to call your essay plastic pollution. That gives you the topic of the essay, but it doesn't really tell you much more than that. It's not interesting. I wouldn't want to read more than that. So you want to have an engaging title for your paper, not just stating what the topic is. You got to do more than that to get the credit for this small part of your essay. And one of the easiest ways to do this, not the only way, but my number one suggestion is to make it into a question. So take your topic and then create some sort of question that gives enough information to kind of give a focus about what your paper is going to be about. Don't make it too broad. You don't want to make it super narrow either, but make it interesting. So, the example right here. So you just wrote a paper offering solutions to the problem of road rage. Which would be the best title for this particular paper? Road Rage, Can't Drive 55, or Road Rage Curing Our Highway Epidemic? The first option, Road Rage, is no good because that's just stating the topic. And that's not very interesting. The second option, it is interesting, but it's not specific enough. What about Can't Drive 55? Are we talking about issues of road rage? Are we talking about raising or lowering the speed limit? Are we talking about raising or lowering, something about age restrictions for driving or something like that? So it's better than the first option. It's a nice sounding title. References an old Sammy Hagar song. It might be 65 though. The title of that song, I Can't Drive 65. Maybe it's 55. Anyway, so it's better, but it's not good enough. So it's the last one is the best one. Road Rage Curing Our Highway Epidemic. It's interesting. It gives us a clearer indication of what the essay is going to be about. It might not be as catchy as the second one, I grant you, but it's the best option out of these three. So, again, there's another way you can do it without asking a question. If I go back to my previous example where I was talking about plastic pollution, that's just using a topic for your title. But if I were to take that and say plastic pollution, how serious of a threat is it? There's an interesting title. That tells you a little bit more what the essay is about, engages reader interest. So after you got that title and you put that on the title page along with your name, class information, the date, stuff like that, which is the only place where your name, the name of the class, the title, the date, my name, if you got to tell me that. That's the only place where that information, your header information basically, will appear in this essay. You will not repeat this on the second page, which actually starts the essay proper with, your introduction, thesis, and stuff like that, and all the other paragraphs. Only on the first page, only on the title page will I see all the header information. And again, that needs to be in MLA formatting. And feel free to stick a picture on your title page. I don't have any problem with that. You don't have to cite it. It doesn't count towards the two or three images that I said that you could use. The maximum, I'm pretty sure it's two. But header information only on the title page. I will make a side note if you want to add your last name and a page number on page 2 and then the subsequent pages. That's fine. That's not really header information. You can set up Word or OpenOffice to kind of do that for you automatically. That's not a requirement. That's up to you. So last name and page numbers are helpful, I think. If you were to print it out, I guess it's more helpful just to make sure everything is in the right order. Since you're all doing this on your computer and submitting it virtually, it's not really an issue. But you've got the option to do the last name and page number on the top right-hand corner of your page if you want to. Next important thing I want to just briefly talk about is your introduction. Probably the most important paragraph in your essay, because within that paragraph you will have your thesis statement or your claim, as we've called it in class. Basically the same thing. Remember the claim, when we're talking about the Tolman method, good old Tolman method, claim the data and the warrant, remember that? Easy way to construct that, you've got, your claim on the one side, but cause in the middle, and then some sort of data, the reason, basically, on the other side of that. So remember those examples in classes, like you should buy um, a Prius because it is very fuel efficient. There's a sentence, a nice thesis sentence that you could use to construct your essay. Just one way to do it. You don't have to though. But once you have your introduction, you need to have that claim, that thesis statement in there, which is the most important sentence within the essay itself. You do not want to go off that first page without having your thesis statement, your claim. And it really should not take you more than half a page to get there. Don't have a page long introduction. Now, I don't care if your thesis is at the very beginning of your introduction or at the very end of it. It can be in either place. It can be in the middle. It doesn't really matter. But you definitely don't want your reader, me, to get off page one without seeing that. And again, it shouldn't take a whole page to get there anyway. Half a page at the most. Now, your introduction could be a little bit longer. We'll get into those strategies in a second here. And quite literally, that took a second. So, ways to begin your essay before, I should say, you actually have a paragraph that states your claim or your thesis statement. And here we have our 6 options of how you can create an interesting, attention-grabbing introduction by using one or perhaps 2. You can mix some of these together. Strategies. Start your essay with a personal anecdote, which is a story. You can give an example, either real or hypothetical. One of my favorites is to ask a question or a series of questions. Give a popular quotation. You can use unpopular ones, but that might require some explaining what is significant about that quotation as it relates to the topic of your essay. So if you use something that you really like, or assuming that nobody else would know, or vice versa, you might have to explain what makes that quote so relevant. Shocking statistics, another favorite of mine. Either your statistics show that most people are either very aware of something or very unaware of something. That can be a good way to start an essay. Or you use words to create a striking image. Striking image, don't confuse that with throwing a picture in there. That's not what that means. This is using very descriptive language to make a striking image that catches the reader's attention. I will say something else about using the question. My personal favorite, doesn't mean you guys have to use it, and asking questions. One of the upsides to that, perhaps, is that the rest of your essay, the body of your essay, needs to go back and try to answer those questions. So it kind of keeps you on target in terms of making sure that your essay is talking about exactly what it needs to, so you don't kind of get off topic there. That's one of the bonuses of using the question introduction method. So there's a paragraph right there as, part of your introduction, again, before you even get into a paragraph that starts or incorporates your claim, your thesis statement. If you need to fill up a little bit more space there's a great way to do it without being redundant or not saying anything interesting at all.